What you gonna do?
What's up, guys? John here. Titanette time with Rachel Daniels.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And this is our first live, so we want to thank everybody for tuning in today for the first live of Titanette time with Rachel Daniels and me, of course. So, if you guys have seen the first couple shows, we covered some things like competitive bodybuilding, talking about some of the hormones and some of the different medications out there that people might be using and stuff like that, or women in particular, some of the different things health-wise that you could be going through and stuff like that. So we want to take it back to the basics. I was talking to Rachel and we're like, we want to hit the masses here. It's not just about competitive bodybuilding or being in a sport, but it's about just being healthy in general. And every man and woman really should want to be healthy and be in a healthy lifestyle, but I don't think they just don't know where to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like John said, this is going to be a great episode because this applies to really everybody and not just the minority of competitive bodybuilders. I think, and we're on live too, so hi to everyone over here. Yeah. So like you were saying, I think a lot of people follow a lot of these influencers or athletes on the internet, like myself and others, and they say like, I want to be in shape, but I don't want to be that. I get that a lot from girls, and I don't take it as like an offensive thing. Like, I want to be like this. I want to be like you in these ways, but I don't want, I don't want to be a competitive bodybuilder, make it my life and hard diet. And that's totally fine, to each their own. But I think a lot of people, like you said, they have some trouble figuring out, where do I start? Like, do I just go from 0 to 100% immediately and just dive into diet, training, supplements, cutting off all my bad friends, all that, and for some people that works, but for some people it doesn't. And I think that it's super important to talk about that. So today we'll talk about a little bit, just the basics, and next week we can go more into like a little more hardcore stuff like macros and, fun stuff like that. So let's start with, where do you want to start with?
So, let's just talk about the general population out there. Right. So, you usually got people that have been athletes in the past that maybe have lost their way.
Absolutely.
Right? Or you have some people that really didn't or wasn't an athlete and they've really never been athletic or in a healthy lifestyle. So, that means that they're scared to go to the gym. They don't really do activities outside or inside for that circumstance or anything like that to really be healthy. So, really, I guess, let's just start from bare bones. And to start where, what you should start doing, right? Some of these awesome, healthy habits.
Right, habits. I love that you use that word because habit forming is so important. We obviously know the dark side of habit forming. We hear about it, like using drugs or alcohol and stuff like this. The downward spiral is pretty easy to fall into, and it's kind of hard to get out of. But the good news is the same applies to positive habits. That's right. So, it's funny you said that. I actually just made a post talking about habits. Like, when I first started bodybuilding, I did not decide one day that I was going to be, I was just going to go to the gym and go to the Olympia, and that was my goal and this and that. Like you said, like most people, I just wanted to change the bad habits that I already had in my life and implement little habits into getting towards a healthier lifestyle. So... And I think a lot of that psychology-wise, in regards to just human beings in general, is you want to set a goal and you want to give yourself something to strive towards, but it's also the key of not setting the goal so high that you're never taking any wins, and it's almost unachievable automatically, right? I think if I said the first day in the gym, I was like, I need to go to the Olympia, like, so let's get to work now. I would have been like, screw this. And I see it a lot with people, they're like, they have their New Year's resolution, and they're like, January 1st, I'm throwing all my food out, I'm going to the gym, I'm changing everything, I'm cutting my hair. And it's like, then how they fail. I see everyone in the gym the first day of the new year, and then by February they burn out. Right, and I think that's because they started with that initial little motivation instead of small habit forming options. So like, what are some habits we can do, not just as bodybuilders, as normal people, to get our lives on the right track? So I think for one, I think a lot of people's biggest issue is going to be food before we even consider the gym. I personally would say you can do little things you're a very big cue to your environmental cues are very big in influencing your habit formations and your habit decisions.
Of course.
So, you know, if you go to Walmart and you buy the family size bag of Doritos, you're probably going to eat the whole family size bag of Doritos as opposed to if you buy a snack size one.
That's right.
So, I mean, I think one of the first things I did when I started was I just went to the grocery store. I think I Googled, you know, healthy foods and I decided that week that I wasn't going to eat out anywhere and I was going to cook my foods. I didn't say I was going to do this many meals or that many. But I did that for the first week. And then it kind of progressed into like, let's do the same meals at different times. And then let's see how much food we're eating and eat the same food, right? So it kind of snowballed from there. So what do you think about that?
So for me, for me it was a little bit backwards, right? So for me, I was always active as an athlete.
Right.
My diet wasn't on point.
Yeah.
You know, I think you might fall in one or either category, or you might fall in you don't know how to do either, and you're not doing both. But nutrition for me, or to starting off like a good nutritional diet, would be that, right? Eliminating some of the bad things.
Yes.
Now, taking that temptation away, because when you do get hungry. I tell people this to take MK677 that stimulates that hunger. I'm like, listen, get rid of all the garbage out of your house.
Yeah.
Right? And at that point, when you do get hungry and you're looking for something, you're not even going to have the temptation to grab it.
Right. But if you have the healthy foods, you're going to maybe eat a bunch of egg whites and rice and great stuff,
Absolutely. So start off with, if you're not eating all garbage, so let's say you're eating out McDonald's or whatever it is, all 3 meals a day, right? If you're getting 3 meals in.
Right.
The first thing we'd do is adjust 1 to 2 to 3 meals, right? And then start eating, like, just gradually getting that in there.
Right. And then maybe try to cut out soda and just start with the water.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. I have a lot of clients who come to me and, obviously I recommend, the normal, a gallon a day, but that's all. But I know that's hard for a lot of people. Some people can barely drink 8 ounces of water a glass a day. So I never come to them and say, start drinking a gallon to a gallon and a half of water a day. That would be overwhelming, and that probably wouldn't work very long. Right. So I'll say, let's start with this many glasses of water for 3 days. Then let's move on to a half gallon of, and then we work our way up. And that way they're not getting overwhelmed with this task that they already think is not something they can accomplish, and also they're giving themselves little wins. I'm a big fan of little wins. So like Monday they're gonna drink whatever small amount, whether it be big or small that day, and they're gonna not eat fast food that day. And then by the next day they're gonna say, I feel good, I did what I was supposed to do yesterday. Right. And then it snowballs. That's right.
That's right.
Instead of setting the bar too high and setting yourself up for failure.
This is true. So don't set up unattainable goals, but you got to set goals that are going to challenge you.
Right.
So if you're comfortable in those goals and you're doing it every day, you're not really, challenging yourself, and you're not really going to change your body or change your lifestyle. So, that's a big thing. Consistency is everything, and that's, habit forming, good habit forming. That's doing it over and over and over, and then it's just like, it's like a natural effect. Like it's like
absolutely.
You know exactly what you're going to do that day, and it's not a chore to you to do it. It's not a punishment to you to do it. That's one thing. Like I'm teaching my son through these years. I'm like, you got to look at the ingredients on the back of the box and stuff like that. We're going to get in that nutrition, and that's going to be next episode. But when you're looking at these different things, start looking and be like, listen, is this really going to be good for me? And water effectively is huge. Now, some people told me like, I don't like water. Like, how can you not like water? Your body is compromised of 70% of water.
Or water makes me bloated.
What is that? Guys, water does not make you bloated, okay?
Yeah, so fun fact, water doesn't make you bloated.
No.
The more water you drink, the better your natural filtration system's going to be. Your body's going to let more water go because it's not scared that it doesn't know the next time it's going to get it.
Exactly.
So you'll actually look a lot better the more water you drink, and the more water you drink consistently.
That's right.
Your body's not stupid, it's a computer. Basically, it's the smartest computer in the world.
It is.
So anything you take away, it's going to compensate for it in another way.
Absolutely.
You take away water, it's going to hold on to whatever fluid that you did put in it.
Yep.
And then you're going to be bloated.
Yep.
It's not from the water.
No.
I promise.
It could be from all the sodium that you're intaking too and drinking the water, but like you said, like even when you become dehydrated, like your body is not stupid. It is the best machine ever made. Right. And it goes into shock and it says, listen, we don't have much water coming in. We better hold on to everything that we have here like a sponge.
Absolutely.
So it's huge.
And it's the same for food. I mean, if you're eating once a day or at random times in the day, like, you know, you don't eat all day and then you have a meal after the club at 2 a.m. and you know, your body's taking notes of all this. Your body likes structures and routines.
It does.
So, I mean, it goes back into even our primal days, right? So, your body has this way of saying, I need to survive no matter what. So, from the outside, it doesn't know that you have the availability of food all the time and you're not in danger. Mm-hmm. So, if you are eating one meal a day sporadically, your body's in a constant state of, I don't know what's going on. Yep. It's going to hold on to that meal or that little bit of fluid a day because it's going to say, I get food randomly at random times at different moments and different amounts of water, and I have no idea where I'm going to get it again, so I'm going to hold on to it in case I need to survive. Mm-hmm. This is all I get, right? So the more you drink consistently water, the more you eat the same amount or close to the same amount or different times during the day, your body's going to be more responsive. It's going to say, I'm going to let go of this waste. I'm going to not hold on to excess water, etc., because I know that I'm going to get it the next day because I've been getting a gallon of water and 3 meals a day of healthy food consistently for a certain amount of time at this point. Right?
It's true. So we do got a question. So water is key is from Christian Duquois, Strength Addicts. Water is key. Why do you both suppose people are so scared of sodium?
Do a whole episode on that.
You know, people are scared of sodium because, you know, obviously higher sodium levels can cause water retention. Water retention can cause high blood pressure and a number of different things. So at that point, like, you want to make sure that, you know, your sodium level or intake is somewhere within normal range of what you should be taking.
But on the counter, if you drop your sodium, and bodybuilders have this problem a lot. They think I need to cut my sodium out because that will get rid of the water. So like I said, your body's a computer. If you start to drop your sodium too low, your body's going to compensate for that by holding more water.
This is true.
So, but like you were just saying, on the other end of the spectrum, too much sodium is not going to be a good idea either, right? So, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much sodium they're intaking altogether.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can tell you right now, if you're cooking your own foods and you're not eating out,
or using a lot of canned foods with
sauces, soy sauce.
Oh God.
Oh my God, things like that. Like, you have no idea how much sodium you're intaking. Yeah, so we don't want to cut the sodium altogether. Right. Sodium's not bad, let's say that. Water's not bad, but we do need to, there's a balance of it all.
Yep, it's true.
I wonder
Definitely is true. So, you know, with that, like, everything should be in a harmonic balance with the body.
Homeostasis.
You know, homeostasis, this is hormone-wise, this is what you're intaking, because your body needs all these different things, nutrients, micronutrients, like all these different things. So it's really essential for you to first just start eating clean. Don't even worry about the number of calories, I guess, per se, right off the bat. We can talk about that next episode. Yeah. We'll get into all that, what you guys should be looking for in that. But just start with getting some good food.
More of the right foods and less of the wrong foods.
This is so true. I mean, the more you eat good food, so if you eat good foods 90% of the time, that time you do eat a cheat meal or you want to splurge, right? It's not going to hurt your body, right?
Right.
You know, you might feel kind of, you know, because of the food you're intaking. I feel like that. Like, I don't eat McDonald's or anything like that. I think I've been on the road once or twice and, like, you know, they've given me a couple fries, or I might eat a burger from Burger King. Man, I literally, guys, 45 minutes to an hour later, I'm just not feeling it. My body's just rejecting it to a certain extent because I'm not used to eating it. Mm-hmm. And I think once you start, you know, people are like, oh, this stuff don't taste good. Like, how can you eat the exact same thing every day? Well, you know, for me, it's easy. And for me, like, after eating this song, like, I love to eat what I eat, you know, but some people are like, oh, you know. So you can really look at different ways to change up your food routine. I know a lot of people are like that. They get bored or they get tired of what they're eating and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe you aren't built like us where we can eat the exact same thing every day, day in and day out. I know dudes like that too.
But there's a lot of things you can do. Like, you can, I mean, get good at cooking. Like, you know, there's, first of all, I think a lot of people think, oh, if I want to look like this, I have to eat egg whites 6 times a day, rice. I can't use any sauces. Yeah. You'd be surprised how many products out there now. I think our culture is trying to promote more of a healthier, cleaner, more organic options, and there are so many options out there, that things that can, sugar-free syrup that still taste good. Like these companies are getting pretty good, or ketchup. They even have like different kinds of mayonnaise and stuff. Yeah. They have all kinds of stuff. I promise you, because trust me, I love to eat just as much as the next person. We all know this. So it's not like you're going to be having to give up pleasure in your life and all together to achieve the body you want. All of us, we all like to go out with our families. We all like to eat. Yep. It's just the majority of our time we're making healthier decisions, so that when we do want to take a break and take a night out, it's not going to affect us, instead of the opposite, where we're making terrible food choices all the time. I think a cool thing you were talking about is how you feel kind of weird sometimes after you eat like a processed meal after you've been eating clean for so long. And I think I have a lot of clients who don't realize that either till they eat clean for a couple weeks, and then I give them their first cheat meal, and they're like, I had this, I went out to Wendy's and it just wasn't the same, and I feel like gross today, and my head hurts, and I kind of depressed, and I'm like, okay. But there's actually a little bit of science behind that. So like when you eat, there are certain things that go through your intestinal linings, right? And it breaks the blood-brain barrier in your brain, and you get certain chemicals and hormones, and they can affect your mood even. I have a lot of people who start eating clean, and they're like, oh, I just have so much like more energy, and like I don't feel like this random tired feeling, and that's all of that kind of plays a role in the food you're eating.
It's like you're a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, or this high performance sports car, supercar, right? And you go to the gas station and you put 87 grade gas in there. It's not gonna run the same when you're putting that 97 in there, right? It's gonna run like it's supposed to. And your body, like when you're taking in these good food sources and getting these good meals in, you're not putting all these chemicals in your body. That's the other thing. When you start eating processed foods and all these different things, high in preservatives and all different things you can't even pronounce on the back of the label and the ingredients.
Right.
What do you think you're putting in your body? That's another thing. Like I had some of these guys out there, and they're like, what's in this and what's in that? I'm like, well, what are you eating per day? Because I mean, you're worried about this and that, but you're not worried about what you're feeding yourself day in and day out.
Yeah,
it's like
I see people all the time.
What sense does that make? Like you're questioning this, but you're not even questioning what you're feeding yourself.
Right.
So I mean, that's where really people have to take accountability with things. They have to step in and be like, listen, I want to make this change, and nobody can make you do it. Like,
absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it'll fail from
like, I want to do this. Well, do you really want to do this? Because if you really want to do this, these are the first steps that you need to do to start your journey, and what your goal is to achieve it. But
don't get caught up on, well, how much do I eat of it, or how many times do I have to? Let's start just by changing the food sources, cooking your own food.
Yep.
Here's another good thing I just thought of, I think, and I'd be curious to know your opinion. I have a lot of people who will say, well, I want to start eating healthier, but I have a 9-to-5 job, so I don't have time to and obviously I can give them a lot of examples, but I feel like you're a great person to ask, because you have
I got a good one for this
24-hour job.
24 hours. I'm always working, me and Sharice.
So how do you find a way to be a healthy lifestyle person?
All right, so when I'm home, right, obviously, I'll prep some food, right? So I'll cook like 10 steaks at a time. I'm all set there. I'll order white rice, or I'll make it, but you can order from any Chinese place, white rice, brown rice, just regular.
Just white rice, not fried rice.
Not fried rice, white rice, plain white rice. But you can make it in a pot. You can make a huge bowl of it.
They have
and it cooks the exact same time.
Yep.
So that's one way you can cook chicken breast, whatever it is. So there's the big question. Who cares when you're home, John, because you're hardly ever home.
Right.
So what do you do on the road, or what do you do at the office? So you can bring one of those meals in with you. It's not that hard to do. Most places have a microwave where you can go heat it up.
Yeah.
Number two, and that's what most of us, athletes or people that are living a healthy lifestyle and want to eat clean all day, that's what they can do.
Yeah.
Second thing is, hey, listen, John, I just can't do that. I was in a rush today. All I have is Uber Eats, DoorDash, because everybody has this now. The best thing you can do is look at some of the menus on there, and some of the bigger chains possibly. Look at the kiddie menu. The kiddie menu is going to be the most bland food on the menu. Look at just grilled chicken breasts. They have a baked
plain
potato,
grilled chicken
right?
breast.
Just a plain baked potato, no sour cream, not a whole bunch of salt on it. That's why I don't order from Outback, because they got all this damn salt on there. I don't care if you cut in, it's
and
still
you don't know
salt
what
as hell.
oils they're cooking
Oh,
with
God.
and stuff, right?
So just
And a lot of these sites actually have their like calories and macros on there now.
They have to.
So
By
you
law.
really don't have an excuse. Like Chipotle is not a bad choice.
No.
Maybe it is if you dump a whole bunch of sour cream and like extra cheese and stuff.
Yes.
But if you just get lettuce and 2 protein sources and things like that, that's a great example. I remember when I first started, people say that to me all the time. Well, I have a normal job and you're a pro bodybuilder. So I'm like, all right. So you think all I have to do is sit around and cook my meals all day, and that's why I've gotten to look like this? Well, I used to have 3 jobs before I was like blessed enough to just be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And I had to find a way. At first, I tried to meal prep all my meals for every day, and I realized that took really long.
Yes.
And I had to be at work way too early and got home way too long. So what I started doing was, like, every 3 days or so, I would cook, like you said, a bunch of chicken. I would cook a bunch of fish. I would cook all my big protein sources and a bunch of rice, and I'd put them in big gallon ones instead of the little individual meal size.
Yep.
And then each night, when I got a second, I would put them in like little meal containers for the next day.
Yeah.
And then every morning I would just do my breakfast because I didn't want 1-day-old eggs.
Right.
So that's a great way to do it, and you really don't have an excuse.
There really is, and I'll bring in for next Titanette time next week, because it's going to be the nutritional portion.
Yeah.
I found actually a solution for you guys if you don't have a microwave, if you're on the road, because people on the road obviously can't order Uber Eats when they're on the road, right? And they still want to eat their meal. So I have a lot of truckers out there that are patients, or a lot of people that just are on sales jobs and they're driving around. So I have this it's like a little container, I guess, right? And you can plug this into your cigarette lighter, and it'll literally heat your meal up.
Drew was telling me about that.
But it won't overheat it.
Yeah.
It won't burn anything.
Keeps it room temp.
It keeps it like right under hot. I would say it's warm at that point. I've done it from everything from steak and everything. It will even cook like frozen beef.
Wow.
Over like 2-hour time span. So it's really cool. It's a really good tool if you want to utilize this if you're on the road, or you're a trucker, or you have a driving job and you're in the car all day, or even at work.
That's a great idea. Even here's another one. There's meal prep companies too.
Oh, this is true.
If you really don't want to cook and you really don't, want to, don't have time, and you really don't have time, you can have meal prep companies. They'll deliver.
This is true.
They'll deliver your meals for a week, frozen, packed, and sealed, for every day.
Yeah.
So there's tons of options. Absolutely.
There's more and more each day. So with that, Eat Right, Nutrition Solutions, Trifecta's out there.
Have you heard of Chicken Pound?
I just heard of Chicken Pound.
I just tried it.
Was it good?
It's so good.
Really?
They have pre-contest chicken. It's zero everything.
Get out of here.
They like extra cut it, and then they have normal. I love it. I was like, sorry.
No. Listen, that's.
I just ordered 20 pounds
awesome.
of their chicken.
Holy
it's
cow!
So good. It's like
so.
They have all kinds. They have barbecue, like
nice
lime. I don't know. And it tastes
chicken
like
pound.
Chicken Pound. It's so good. I was like, this can't be real. And they have all their calories and stuff obviously on the website.
And most of the food prep companies out there will have the calories and stuff like that of what you're intaking, so you know what your macros are, and we'll discuss what macros are next episode, because we're gonna get more nutrition there. But this is just the first step, right? So let's answer a couple questions here. All right. So what about so many health gurus recommending Himalayan salt in your morning water?
Your morning water, specifically.
Does it matter which way you intake salt or Himalayan salt?
I think people get tripped up on the pink Himalayan salt just because it has extra minerals that are beneficial to you.
Yes.
It's not a game changer.
No.
I don't think it's like something you should swear by. Mm-hmm. If you want to use pink salt, use it. If you don't, I don't think you're gonna see any obvious changes.
I don't think you're gonna get the instant gratification from Himalayan salt.
Unless it makes you feel better, placebo effect.
How many years have we been around without really using Himalayan salt?
There's a lot of things where you're like,
some things work better for other people too. So with some of these health gurus or who they are, whatever it is, they might be using it, might be working really well with them, and it might not work very well with other people. This is with different foods too, and we'll talk about this next episode where people are different as far as sensitivities and allergies and stuff like that, and there's ways you can look into this. So don't get caught up on all the fad things out there. Now, just stick to the basics to start. Right? Don't overcomplicate
worry about
things.
Don't worry about that. Because then you start Googling Himalayan salt, and then you get into all these minerals, and then you're like, well, I need more of this. I don't have enough. Yeah. And you stop and you go to McDonald's because you're stressed out. You're like, this is too much. I'm going to go get my McDonald's Himalayan salt.
So it's up to 20 times more than generic table salt, the cost. So
that's the difference.
Think about that.
Well, yeah, and it's not as processed as the table salt. Like I was saying, there's natural extra minerals in there that you're not going to get, but like I said, they're not
I don't think
stupendously going to be a game changer. I had somebody ask, what do you think about the impact of artificial sweeteners on a diet?
So, for me, I try to stay away from artificial sweeteners too. So people go to Diet Cokes instead of regular Cokes, or, like they'll start using the coloring or the flavoring in their water and stuff like that a bunch. So if you're gonna do a dab in there, I guess is okay. Some sweeteners, artificial sweeteners or substitutes, I guess they're okay to a certain extent, but there's other things that are contradicting to that. So for me, I just stay away from them.
I stay away from them for the most part, but I'll say I think it's another moderation thing. If you're having 12 Diet Cokes a day, it's probably not good, because the sucralose and all these other things that are artificial that aren't sugar, if you're doing it in excess, it adds up. Just like if you have like 20 stevia packets a day, you're like, well, I didn't have real sugar. That doesn't mean you can have as much as you want.
That's right.
So if you're having, like 2 stevias in your cup of coffee, that's going to be better than, a teaspoon of real table sugar, things like that. But like I said, I think a lot of people are like, well, zero everything, and then they just go into excess on it. It doesn't work like that.
On the next episode, we'll tell you some tips on maybe how to flavor your water better, or some different substitutes and stuff like that maybe we use, because I've got some good ones for you. I just don't want to go into it so deep right now. Strength Daddy said the computer analogy for the human body is a pretty perfect example.
Thanks.
All right,
I think it's pretty good. Do you guys have any questions over here? Drop your questions so we can answer them.
So I wish more people looked into the injectable vitamins. I'm looking into them myself. Muscle is great, but overall health is so important. So overall health is the most important thing, because without your health, you're not getting out of bed, you're not working, you're not trying to build muscle because you can't get out of bed because you're so sick, or you're too weak, right? So it's number one. That your health should be number one priority, and that's where getting into the healthy lifestyle is so important.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about the next thing, right? The next thing is that after you start cleaning up your diet and you really start on this nutritional transformation, you're gonna really go into some sort of activity. A lot of people, they think that, hey, I gotta go lift a whole bunch of 100-pound dumbbells and this and all that in the gym. It doesn't have to be that right away.
Right.
Really, it's using your common sense of how much activity do you get in right now and where can you up that.
Yeah.
So for some people, they don't do any activity at all. They go to work, they sit there from 9 to 5, they come home, they sit with the kids, they eat dinner, they watch TV, they go to bed, and over and over.
So it's probably not a good idea for that type of individual who's that sedentary to just say, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week, train 2 hours a day on heavy weights, and do an hour of cardio in the morning. Yeah. All at once.
I don't care who you are, if you take off that much time, even if you take off, let's say, a month, right? For us, we're going to go back in our first day and be sore as hell the next day.
Yeah. So, like, example, when I'm getting ready for a show, on my off season, I might do like 20, 30 minutes just walking outside a day just for my heart health.
Yep.
But it's not like one day I just wake up and I jump into 70 minutes of fasted cardio and 10 minutes a hit. Like, right? I would throw up and be like, that would be like extremely traumatic to my nervous system and my body. So, and to my mind, I'd be like, there's no way I can achieve my goal. So that's another great way of saying, just building with the baby steps. And it's the same at the gym. I have clients who, they get with me for nutrition and training, and they're like, I want to change my life. We're going to change everything. It's going to be so good. And I'm like, cool. But then I'm like, they've never worked out a day in their life.
Right.
So I'm like, or done a meal plan.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, let's start with the meals, right? Because, 90% of this is going to be your diet anyways. And your training is going to be a big supplement, but it is a supplement to your diet. And so, let's start with just the diet. Conquer that. But that's, like you said, once you have that down, and it's time to go to the gym, what do we do from there? How many days should we start training? And I think, like you said, it's different to every individual.
Absolutely.
If you have no athletic background, you could consider a trainer, or you could consider starting. I usually start people with no athletic background on, like, especially the girls, like maybe 3 days a week in the gym.
Absolutely.
And some just some heart health cardio.
Yep.
You know, we don't just ramp. If you do have if you're coming to me and you're already a bodybuilder, like, yeah, we can work on we can work on a 6-day kind of more hardcore program. Yep. But the training's gonna also change the way your food is processed in your body.
Absolutely.
And that's going to help.
I think, well, obviously your food is your gas, right? It's going to get you through the day. It gives your body the nutrients to do what it needs to do, right? And you're expending calories, and calories are energy, right? So when, you're taking in these calories, you want to utilize these calories. Now, you're going to utilize so many calories for the day with just your normal activity.
Right.
With whatever it is. Resting, kissing, walking, all these different stuff.
Sitting and doing nothing.
You do, but, it's a minimal amount of calories. So don't say that I can kiss all day, I'm going to be buff as hell. It's not going to happen.
People say, can I have sex instead of do 45 minutes
So that's a good cardiovascular activity, as long as you're moving and it's not your partner.
Depending on it. It varies.
So at that point, add that in, because that's good too, and that releases other things like oxytocin in the body, it's serotonin, like all these different things. But when you're doing the activity level, the big thing is start somewhere. So start whether it's walking or jogging or whatever it is, and that's good for cardiovascular, good for heart. It's going to help your metabolism start boosting, and it's going to start helping using those calories. The next thing is really going to do some sort of physical activity, because we know this. The more muscle you do have, the more fat you do burn.
Right.
So at that point, when you're going in there, don't think I'm gonna gain a whole bunch of muscle. No, we want to first get you like in a comfortable level of you lifting weights, and don't go to the dumbbell rack and start messing around with dumbbells. My first thing is when somebody says, "Hey, listen, I've never worked out, or I haven't worked out in so long, I really don't know what I'm doing," is I'm like, "Listen, let's try to do some machines, because you can start off real light on a machine." You get the grasp of the movement, right? You see what your body really can do, and then you can move up in weight progressively.
Right. Progressive overload.
It really is, and have a plan for when you're going to go there, because 50% of it is you just walking through the door. The next 50% of it is you putting in the work. So at that point when you're in there, just make sure you're going to challenge yourself to a certain extent, not overextending yourself, overexhausting yourself.
Right.
But really setting it. I'm going to do 30 minutes. For 3 times a week this week.
Yeah, and that's a great habit forming. That's a great habit forming cue to yourself too.
Absolutely, and set it up. This is what I do now, because it's hard for me to even get away. I'm getting 2 or 3 days in, so I usually go 5-6 days before. And at that point, what I do now is I schedule as a meeting. So schedule in your phone, everything.
I do too.
2 hours before, so 2 hours from now I'm going to go. An hour before, I know I'm going to go in an hour. And don't let anything get in the way of that.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Don't make excuses. I got to do this, or this is coming up. Listen, if it's very important, like your kid, your family, death, or there's a serious emergency, then that's something to maybe put it aside.
But make it a priority.
Make it a priority. Make it for yourself a priority, because at that point, you're always going to be able to give yourself an excuse of why you didn't go or why you didn't do it. I'm going to start next week or next Monday or whatever it is. No. Start now. Start now,
even if you don't know what you're doing.
Even if you don't know. And that's why we're here too. So we're going to be here to help you guys. So if you guys are getting into this, you guys can come on here and be like, "Hey, listen, I started this week. What do you guys think I should do from here?" And we can maybe give you some opinions or some recommendations of maybe what we would do, or we would tell somebody to do. And at that point, you guys can utilize that also.
The checklist thing is huge. I mean, I keep a calendar in my phone just where I can add tasks for every day, because I'm an over planner. But psychology wise behind it, also it gives you, like, I'm going back to those little wins. If you put even trivial tasks and line them up for your day, of things you have to do today, there's a certain amount of accomplishment that goes off in your brain when you literally cross something off a list that you accomplished. True. Even if it was like something small,
So true.
like signing up for my health insurance today or something like that. All of those things, they start to add up. And for me, I know personally it feels good when my list is all checked off the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
And somebody gave me a tip a while ago. They said, make a list of the things that are, because I was saying I have so many things to do in a day, and I overbook myself and I don't get them all done, and I don't feel accomplished. So I said, make one list of all the things that you have to do today that are like no matter what priority. So for me, that's like gym, respond to my clients, work, things like that. eat.
Yeah.
So
it's got to get in there.
And then you can make a list of the other things, and I call them extra credits. So like if you have time, after you get done with those things, finish those. So that way you'll always at least be getting the things you need to get done, and make the gym one of those things.
Absolutely.
That way, internally in your mind, you start to prioritize your health and your training as something as important as picking your daughter or son up from school or going to your normal job. And you'll start to assimilate that ideology just like those, and it'll become a priority in your life as well as your health, hopefully.
And another thing is that, listen, a little bit's better than none. So what I mean by that, so when people even start, and let's say they don't get their 30 minutes in, go home, and this is another good one for people to start too, is like, if you are watching TV and you sit there and you like to watch TV, there's a show you like, in between the commercials or every 5 to 10 minutes, get down, do 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups, start there, and then progressively go up from there. You'll be banging them out like you wouldn't believe. One thing that I do in the morning is before I get in the shower, I get down, I'll do 50 push-ups to start. Even at night, I'll do 50 push-ups to end the day. So that way I've already started. I'm getting the blood flowing too. This is going to help with a lot of different things, from the metabolism to even cognitive enhancing.
Yeah.
When you're moving, you're active. A strong body is a strong mind. So it goes hand in hand, and they work together.
Yes, exactly. And like the person who shows up I truly believe the person that shows up every day consistently, key word here is repetitively, and gives maybe 75 to 50% versus the person that shows up every now and then and gives 110.
Yep.
The person who's giving me 60 and 70 consistently and repetitively on their diet and training is going to by far surpass the person who's giving me sporadic bursts of extreme effort.
Yep.
So that's exactly the same. Like, even if you don't go have a great workout, even if you go to the gym and just do 10 minutes of cardio and leave, cool, you do that for a week. Then the next week you do a little more and a little more. But at least you're showing up every day. And the key to habit forming is repetition. Bad habits, the more you do an action or behavior, the more you're going to probably form a habit on it. It's the same with good habits.
For sure.
So just show up. Just start. I think that's the
big one.
The key of today is just start.
And when we mention healthy lifestyles and stuff like that, we talk about activity level, we talk about nutrition, we'll talk about sleep here in a second. But the other one is mental health.
Ooh.
It's a big one.
Huge.
Especially right now with COVID and all the lockdowns and all the things that people have been through this last year and a half. And people are still going through all the news out there. It can stress you out just by watching that.
Yeah.
But daily life can stress you out. Your job, the kids, partners, whatever it may be. There's things that can happen to you that stress you out. And, people get in a state where they just start getting knocked down. Now, if you're in an unhealthy lifestyle already, you're probably already at that line of depression, or probably think you're depressed. A big thing is when you start getting this activity in and the proper nutrition, and we'll talk about sleep, this will increase mental health, and you'll actually feel better about yourself, more confident. A lot of people are very unconfident about themselves, and that could be from, if they take their shirt off, they might have a stomach or their legs, whatever it may be. People, listen, nobody's perfect. We all have flaws,
right?
But we just want to perfect ourselves to the best of our ability. And that's really, when you start going, like, people really start getting that confidence level. Even if they don't have a six-pack as a guy and they're taking off their shirt, they look a hell of a lot better and they feel like a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
Some of the patients, that we've had, 300 pounds and have lost 80 or 100 pounds, they feel like a new person. You know? And you will too. Like, but mental health is so key, because if you don't have mental health, it can knock you down in so many different ways.
Yeah, you're not going to make it physically if you're not there mentally, even if it's easy physically.
For real. I mean, so you got to be mentally strong. And if you're not mentally strong, build yourself up physically and mentally. I promise you it'll come along with that too as well. But do some healthy mental activities. If it's meditation that you may need, or listen, going to the gym is my de-stressor.
Yeah.
Like, I always feel better if I have a crappy day and I need to go and relieve some stress and feel better about some different things. Even if I know something bad's going to happen, I'll go there and I'll feel better afterwards, and I'll start thinking about different solutions to my problems that I might have.
Sometimes I'm self-employed, right? So I can literally work from anywhere on my laptop. And when I was first transitioning out of being in a corporate office all the time, I was like at home all the time, all of a sudden on my laptop. At first, you're like, this is cool. Like, I'm at home. Like, this is awesome. And then I start to see myself kind of get a little depressed. And I was like, this is weird. Like, so nowadays some days I'll actually just get all my stuff and go to the gym, or I'll go to a Starbucks or something where I can sit outside. And even if I'm not talking, I might not talk to anybody the whole time, but I'm outside and my space is open, and it's a different environment. It's not closed in like my home, and there's people around me. And humans are social at the end of the day. You need that, even if I like to be alone too, social and have my alone time, but you'd be consistently not putting yourself around other people or in different positive environments are very, very important to your mental health.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that.
Isolation can be destructive. So if you think, I'm just an antisocial person, I'm an introvert, like, okay, that's fine, but you need to go out there and do that, because literally, man, that's how they break people down, even in jail. That's how they put them in isolation. They try to break them down, man.
Humans are pack creatures and really social creatures, even if individually some of them are better at being alone than the others. We all inherently, since caveman days, are better off internally when we're in packs, because that meant we were more successful at our chances of survival. So nowadays we have more options, right? We can survive on our own, but it still plays in that sense of your mental health. You need to get outside. You just be outside or around other people sometimes.
That was one big thing moving down here from Florida, from the Midwest, like up north, was 8 months out of the year it was gray and gloomy. Now when you grow up there, you really don't think anything about that, but it's scientifically proven that the more sunlight and light that you get,
it is,
the more positive and better you'll be, and not being depressed. That's a big one. And when I moved down here, I realized it.
Yeah, and it's real. There's been studies on it.
There's been a ton of studies on this. So at that point, you want to make sure that you're getting out, getting sunlight, even if you're in your house, like maybe opening the window, getting that sun in there, on you. Like you said, like going somewhere like, like Starbucks or like parks. I mean, I see people all the time, man, because a lot of people are working from home now.
Yeah.
And it's not good to just sit in your house
all day. And I think quarantine really was the biggest study of all, and showed that. I mean, people really fell into mental depressions who thought they were in such a great mental state before. And absolutely. I mean, part of it's the isolation and the fear, and then I think on the other hand, a lot of people started prioritizing their health, and maybe that gave them a jump start, because they realized that health is very important.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this is real, guys, and you don't have to have a big pandemic to wake you up and take better actions towards your health and your food. But I mean, that was a good jump start.
Absolutely. So with this too, it goes along with blood work. Well, I'll mention this in there because we just got a question on that. Big shout out to IFBB Pro, Alex Toplin. Hey. He trains in MI40 all the time.
Yeah, he does.
All the
What's
way
up,
through.
Bro?
Always see him. So, with that, your health. Next thing is blood work and checking everything, right? So when you go to a regular general practitioner, you're just checking liver, kidneys, electrolytes. You're going to check maybe a thyroid panel, maybe a blood cell count, maybe. Maybe cholesterol panel that's thrown in there too as well.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure you check all that plus your hormones. Now, we can do blood work at Titan Medical Center here nationwide, wherever you're at. Now, it's real simple and easy to do. All you have to do is call or text 727-389-3220. You can mention my name or mention Rachel's, and you guys will get a discount. For you guys out there, it's usually $200, and it would be $150 with the discount for you guys. For females, it's usually $300. It'll be knocked down to $225. There's actually some more hormones that we run on you females, and we don't run on guys.
You just say that because a lot of these girls, they come to me and say, I got my blood work done. It's a full. I said, did you get a full everything? They're like, yeah, it's all full. I got it from my doctor.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not unless you ask. At Titan Medical, you don't even have to ask. We include every single thing possible, and some of the things that are getting left off the list at your normal general practitioner's office are the things that are going to affect you the most. They're probably the most important.
Absolutely.
So blood work is super important.
Blood work's super important.
Alex, you can definitely drop either our names, call in.
Yep.
It's super easy. You just give us a call. We need to get on a FaceTime consult with you with one of our doctors. They can do that nationwide.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people say, well, I live in New York, so I can't drive down. No problem. We'll send the lab slip to the closest lab near you, and then you just give it. They are going to have your orders ready, and then the lab will send your results to Titan, and we'll call you and go over them with you. And if you need copies, we'll get them sent to the proper parties. So I really don't. I've never heard of a company that has an easier process to do that.
It's very simple and very easy. If you need something helped out with after the blood work, right, that's where the medical consultation comes in.
Yeah, well, that's why we call you.
Yeah, we can utilize those therapies and all different types of things for you guys. So, that's the easiest thing you can do. Just call or text us. We'll take care of you guys from there and get you guys back on track, because that's another part of being healthy, checking things outside, because that's a problem for a lot of people too. They start eating correctly. They start doing the activity and do the right things. And man, they're just not getting anywhere. They plateau, and then it's like so devastating for them. Yeah,
it happens. I see girls like that a lot. They like even, they're like, I'm doing this diet forever. I'm doing 70 minutes of cardio. Nothing's working. I'm like, it's probably something with your thyroid or something with your hormone. Like, well, let's take a look at the blood work, and then boom, something on there. You fix that, all of a sudden,
that's right,
changes with the same diet and same training. So it's super important. If you really are eating correctly and working out and making proper health changes to your life, and you've done it for a while and something's not changing, it's probably a really good sign that you need to get your blood work done, because that might be a big factor in that.
This is another one. Explain the importance of reading. I'm seeing beginners that think that hard work is being at the gym 7 days a week unless you plan it right, but people burn out too. So it's a big one, right? With this, like, you don't have to be in there, like she said, for 7 days a week, or as far as a beginner, because you are going to burn out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quick.
You got to give yourself a break, even if you're training real hard. 1 day break on Sundays is a good day. Maybe Saturday, Sunday if you're going to take 2, but at that point, that's a good break for you guys. Mental release. You guys can chill, have a good day. Spend time with your family or doing some cool activity or whatever it may be. Summer's right around the corner, so we're all probably going to be outside doing something in summer. So I think it's really, really important as far as that goes. And reading, obviously, is for mental stimulation too as well. I love reading. You should definitely read.
I read all the time.
It's really important. I mean, you're keeping those tools sharpened, and reading is a part of it. It's a fundamental.
Even if you're not reading about health and diet, or like, I read books about all kinds of crazy stuff. So do I. And it's got nothing to do with bodybuilding at all. But my cognitive health has improved from it thoroughly. And now I've also associated a positive cue with reading. Yeah. Like, I actually feel good when I read now.
That's awesome.
And it quiets my mind too, because I know a lot of you guys are overthinkers. I'm an overthinker. If I have too much time or I'm not doing something, I start to get in my head. Yep. Reading's great.
Reading is definitely great, and it's definitely resting is good too. So that's what she meant by it. But I kind of picked that up. That's why I said Saturday and Sunday.
Well, recovery,
But reading is essential too, man. I'm telling you, because you want to keep a sharp mind. I mean, sharp body, sharp mind.
We could probably do a whole episode on
for real. Yeah. And I read all the time. I'm reading new books and all that. It's really good, and you don't have to have a book. You can go right online and on your phone or your tablet or whatever, and read a whole bunch of different things on there, articles and all kinds of cool things that might help you out. Because a lot of people I know nowadays are on the videos, and that's all they do. They watch videos all day, TikToks all day, whatever it is. But really, I'm telling you guys, reading is essential in what you guys are going to be doing, because if you're ever going to go up in the world, in career-wise, whatever you do, if you're creating your own brand, or you have a corporate job, or you got to do a presentation, you're gonna have to read off of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't want to sound like a first grader in there, stumbling over your lines or misrepresent or miss.
And then if you do want to get more into bodybuilding and learning about nutrition and foods like that, don't just listen to one source. Start reading things yourself and read different opinions.
All right, so a new client says, I'm on thymosin alpha 1, thymosin beta, BBC, and CJC 1295 with Perelin. Should any of these be cycled off? If so, how should I? So no. So all these different therapies that you're on right now. So thymosin alpha 1 for immune function, thymosin beta 4, and BPC 157. Now that could be for an injury. I don't know what you're using it for particularly. So you can use that, to help with the injury. And then after that, you can do like some preventative dosing.
Gut health.
Yeah, gut health.
All that.
So we'll go over that with you guys. Always call or text us here. We're here for you guys. And CJC 1295 with Perelin, you can be on for long, extended periods of time. Mm-hmm. So those are all ones that you can stay on. There's no cycling on and off of those. But BPC 157 and thymosin beta 4, you can kind of, after your injury's healed per se, you can kind of cut back on it a little bit and then extend it out and kind of use it for preventative and gut health, like she was saying. All right. Any other ones on here? All right. So the next one. Pink shirt, your face looks... So the next one.
You almost read it.
Yeah, almost did, but trust me, I'm good at that. All right, so Guys, make your comments nice, all right? So at that point, let's talk about the last thing because we only got a couple minutes left. So the last pillar, I think, of this whole healthy lifestyle, because we've talked about most, mental health, nutrition, activity, and this one is rest.
Yeah.
Sleep is very essential, all right? And it's a number of different things. I was looking at a doctor's, clinical data like yesterday, and it was talking about how somebody who got only 4.5 hours of sleep to 7.5 hours of sleep in fat loss percentages and then muscle gain as well.
Yeah.
So the person that got the 7.5 gained, it was 20% more muscle than the person that did not.
Yeah.
And lost less fat.
Yep.
So
a lot of that's leptin.
It really is,
leptin
at that
levels.
point. And getting good rest. So the next day when you get up, you should rest properly, and the next day you should almost feel refreshed. Unless you've had a real hard day the day before, then you're kind of exhausted still. But, rest is a big, big thing, for cognitive, for your thinking, for physical,
for weight loss,
energy,
for hunger,
weight loss,
all of it.
Yeah, so it really is. It ties into everything. These are all things that are part of an ecosystem per se.
Absolutely.
If you take one out, you're just not going to get a good effect. You want to have all of them in there.
Yeah, watch how much easier your life gets when you get the roughly same amount of time of sleep a night, and maybe go to bed at the same time. Your body has an internal clock that it will go on.
That is the best way to do it.
My sleep is so on key now that I don't even need an alarm.
That's
I wake up at the same time every morning. And if I don't sleep, it feels like I got hit by a car.
Yep.
And that's because I've been doing it for so long, and maybe some people don't realize it at first when they haven't been doing it for a long time, but it also is gonna lower ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone that you're gonna get to make you hungry. So you're staying up at 1 a.m. and wondering why you're pigging out. Go to sleep.
And it's not the MK, so
yeah, no, you don't need any of that.
But your body repairs itself, recharges itself, revitalizes itself at night. Think of yourself as an electric car, and you're going into a charging station, and that's at night. You're plugging yourself in, you're going to sleep, and your body is recharging the batteries.
Yes.
So the next day you're ready to go full force. Now, even with me, I don't care what I do the night before. There's some nights where I'll stay out till 2 or 3 in the morning with events or whatever it is, and the next day I'm so clockwork, like you said. I'll wake up. 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to go.
Mine too.
It just is what it is. I wake my son up every morning for school, get him off, and the whole 9 every day. So every morning I wake up before my alarm goes off. I'm sitting there for 15, 20 minutes answering emails, and then I hear it and go off, and then I go wake him up.
Yeah.
But it really is key, man. Once you start getting that routine, it will be easier to do.
Yeah, it will. If you think about it, babies when they're first born, what do they do all the time?
Eat, sleep,
shit. But how fast do they grow?
Oh, quick.
They're growing in insane amounts, right? Yep. And I don't know why people get away from that when they're an adult. Obviously, you have more responsibilities than a baby. I get it, but you should look at it the same. They would not be benefiting the way they are, and you can still benefit the way they do with the growth, especially if you're trying to change your body.
Absolutely.
This is how you eat and you sleep regularly and as often as possible.
Yeah. It's a big thing, it's another big thing. So a lot of people leave that out of the equation about sleep, and for some people they don't get as much sleep they should,
or too much. We could
or,
probably do a whole episode on sleep.
Yeah, people may get too much sleep, and then you feel tired and groggy when you wake up from that too. So there's different things you can do, and plus if you're taking naps through the day, there's a certain amount of time you can take a nap and wake up and still feel refreshed.
Absolutely.
If you sleep
too
long
past
nap,
you're off.
Then you'll wake up groggy and tired still. So there's a lot of different things, but I think that really sums up our first live of Titanette Time with Rachel Daniels.
Awesome.
So it's been a really good live with you guys. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. We're just going to be bringing you guys this awesome content to help you ladies out there, and you guys will benefit too as well, whether it's for yourself and learning some things, or for your partner they have in the future. This will help them too as well, and you might give them some tips and tricks, and they're like, oh man, this guy is so smart.
Yeah. You're silly.
So we appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Wednesday at 12 p.m. with another live with Titanette Time with Rachel Daniels.
Bye guys.
I'm John, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
What you gonna do?